Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is a concert review that I've kind of been talking about for a good bit in terms of saying that I was going to be going to this concert. That would be seeing Elvis Costello and the Imposters at the Berglund Performing Arts Center in Roanoke, Virginia. Um, Filming this on Tuesday, October the 7th. I saw him on the 5th, and it was a great show. I'll just start there. Went with my mom, who is a big, she was a original Costello fan, I should say. She listened to him a lot in her college days. He was a big mainstay on college radio at that time, and I think she had a couple of like ripped cassette tapes that were given to her of some of his early content. So really cool to get to experience that concert with mom, who's been a big Costello fan, and she very graciously purchased the tickets. So I was very excited to attend with her for my first Elvis Costello show. Now, this is called Radio Soul, the early songs of Elvis Costello. So he was really focusing on the first 10 years of records, kind of up to like King of America ish being the stopping point of his set list. But he went all over the spectrum. I've got my laptop here, so I apologize for looking off camera, but I wanted to be sure to have the set list, good to go here. So we went again. It was on the 5th at the Performing Arts Center, the Berglund Performing Arts Center, which holds about 2,500 or so people. From what I understand, there were quite a few tickets that didn't get sold. In the high hundreds, maybe even 1,000. I'm not sure on that. I wasn't in the balcony, so I couldn't see what the balcony looked like. We were on the back row of the orchestra section on the floor. So we were right up against the back wall, but still a great venue. One of the cool things was he had the Imposters, who have been with him for a long time, but he also had, Charlie Sexton, who had a few songs of his own in the 80s, kind of an outlaw country kind of guy out of Austin. But in recent years, he was the touring guitarist for Bob Dylan. So I've seen Charlie 3 times, I believe, with Dylan. Actually twice in the venue that I saw Elvis on Sunday night. But came right out of the gate. Song 1, 2, 3, Mystery Dance, Watching the Detectives, and This Year's Girl. Fantastic. He was playing well. I thought, I've heard differing views on the concert. Some people said that the drums were overpowering. Some people said that Elvis's voice was weak at the beginning. I didn't really hear that. I thought his voice kind of trailed off a little bit in the middle, but he was able to pick up some steam later on in the show. But the band was tight, albeit there were a couple of times where during the acoustic set where it sounded like there might have been a couple of cues that might have been missed, but still, great sound, great garage sound. You don't listen to Elvis Costello's music for, tight chord changes and stuff. You listen for good guitar, rock and roll. But first 2 songs out of the gate, boom, boom, boom. Then he goes to Miracle Man. Then he tells a story before launching into Less Than Zero, which, is one of his bigger songs. It was kind of the song that got him part of the 2 songs that got him banned from SNL. You can look that up. He was supposed to play that song. He ends up playing Radio on SNL. But he was very open during the concert about his politics. He wasn't very preachy during the show. He mentioned about 2 or 3 different times, kind of gave anecdotes, and you kind of had to take them for what they were. Never said a certain person's name by name, but he did mention something before Less Than Zero, which I found pretty neat, where he said, I wrote this song when I saw a fascist on the TV, but it's a good thing we don't have those on the TV anymore, or something like that. And then kind of, paused and was tongue in cheek. But Launching the Less Than Zero, which is great. We're All Cowards Now was beautiful. Waiting for the End of the World was also a great tune. No Flag, Motel Matches, which is great. Poor Napoleon, again, another one of those classic tunes. Then it kind of got a little bit slow. He did Lover's Walk and Possession. But it was at this time that there were a couple of guys that were sitting near my mom and I, and they were sitting right next to the soundboard that would not stop talking like they were at a bar, listening to a bar band. And the crazy thing was they were both wearing Elvis Costello shirts. So they already put down, $50 onto a t-shirt and were there buying, $12 beers. Why are you going to talk? So that eventually became a thing. People started yelling them to, shut up. And, a couple of F-bombs were thrown. There was a couple of particular fingers that were put up in the air. And then they quieted down for at least the last third of the show because police were kind of nearby. But they were just a couple of great guys to be with, I'll tell you that. But then he jumped into The Angels Want to Wear My Red Shoes, which was fantastic. I love that song. It's so good. And then one of my favorite moments of the show was when he kind of jumped into this little acoustic set, kind of reminiscent of his Almost Blue album, which he sings this song next as the title track of the album of the same name. He's at the piano. All the guys are around him. Charlie's playing the one electric guitar. Plays beautifully these jazz chords. It reminded me of when I saw Charlie with Dylan, when Dylan was doing a lot of those shows after he put out those American Standard albums. So hearing that was like, oh yeah, Charlie, that's why he played with Dylan, because he could play those jazz chords. Then he did another ballad, A Face in the Crowd. Again, this was about the time the guys were really starting to talk, so I was not focused as much on this particular tune because I wanted the guys near us to pipe down. Don't talk at concerts, people. It's annoying. Nobody wants to hear it. That's my PSA. Don't say a word. And then he did two covers, which are great. Why Don't You Love Me, the old Hank Williams tune. And then he sang the Merle Haggard song, The Bottle Let Me Down, which that was fantastic. They were around, one of the old style microphones on acoustic instruments. That was great. I love that. And then he did another great tune. Again, one of my favorite moments from the show. He sang the song Deportee and told this great anecdote about a bartender with people at his bar. He was serving them drinks that represented their country. So he said, the Mexican man at the bar was drinking his tequila. The Russian was drinking his vodka. And he was kind of doing that whole thing. And then he essentially was saying, the clock on the wall said it was closing time. So the bartender mixed all the drinks together and put them in front of the people at the bar, and then topped it off with Bud Light, which he says makes everything terrible. Take that as you will. But then he sang Deportee about immigrants, and that was, again, very topical and very, very poignant. Brilliant Mistake, Clubland, and then he's really jumping into, Clubland, then he goes into Wonder Woman, which is the song he did with Alan Toussaint. Then is the big finale. This is song number 22. He sings Every Day I Write the Book from this album. I need to show a record. I just bought this yesterday at my record store because I was missing it from the early Elvis albums that I have. But Every Day I Write the Book, big song on MTV, video, etc. Elvis looking like a cool kind of John Lennon look there with the cap. He goes, Every Day I Write the Book, and then as soon as he finishes that, he just shouts out, Radio, Radio, and then Radio, Radio comes on, which is just the rockinest tune. Just so good. That organ by Steve Naive is just so good. Then he jumps into I Don't Want to Go to Chelsea. Again, he's just rocking this. And then he finishes technically with Pump It Up. That organ is just, it sounds so good. Elvis is sounding good at this time. The whole band is just great. And what I appreciated was that he never really did a traditional encore in the sense that they all got together, kind of bowed, but stayed on the stage so that we didn't have to go through like the whole schmaltz of, let's get them back out here. They're going to come out anyway. And then he jumps into the Niccolo classic, What's So Funny About Peace, Love, and Understanding. Then he jumps into this cool arrangement of I Can't Stand Up for Falling Down. Kind of starts a little slow, and then he jumps into that first chorus. Fantastic. It was like on double time. And then he closes with a coda of What's So Funny About Peace, Love, and Understanding. And then he concludes the show with, as he said, the only ballad on the first album. It was a song that he said they wrote to get girls. He said now they don't care about that as much, being a bunch of, guys in their 70s married. But they conclude with Allison, which was great. And by this point, the last, 15 minutes of the show, everybody was standing up. So it was a great time, other than the two lovely gentlemen sitting near us. But yeah, it was great. I didn't get any merch. I need to like hold off on some of my concert merchandise. There's some cool vinyl that were signed, but I couldn't warrant $100 vinyl record for a signature, especially when Elvis isn't in my top 5 or so artists, and even those guys, I'm like, yeah, I don't know if I want to spend that for a concert autograph. But really cool stuff. I know several people have seen him already on this tour. I know John over at the Digital Gramophone saw him down in Greenville, South Carolina. And as I'm filming this, he's playing tonight. So he's still got a few shows left. Go check them out. It's great, especially if you want those early Elvis hits. I know a lot of times he does his concerts where you might not know what he's singing because he's doing a lot of new material. But this is a great one if you love those first early rock and roll years of Elvis Costello and the Attractions. So go see him, Elvis Costello and the Imposters with Charlie Sexton. It's fantastic, and I had a great time. So thank you again, Mom. But that does it for me. In the meantime, y'all be good, take care, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye now.